Welcome to Three Dudes and a Lady. Join us for a little inspiration, a little motivation, and perhaps a way to cope with your day. I am Mike from Virginia. My gratitude this morning is for what I was doing yesterday and the pure joy of negotiating with a 3-year-old.
Love that. My name is Earl, hailing from the beautiful state of North Carolina. My gratitude for this morning is growth and opportunities that abound.
Hey guys, I am Christine Wright, hailing out of the great state of Florida. My gratitude for the day is for my son. He's helping me get fit, so it's kicking my butt. Today, Jay Shetty talked about perspective on your goals, right? Have you ever worked really hard on a goal, then achieved it, and then it was just like, that's it. That's all this was, right? And that can be really frustrating. You put in all this work and then it just kind of fell flat, right? It didn't really bring any joy, right? A lot of times we might cling too tight to the objective and not actually focus on why we want to do that in the first place, right? He spoke about two friends, Mike and Marcus. They signed up to do a marathon and they wanted to push themselves, right? Mike cared about the achievement and the medal, right? Where Marcus was committed to the approach. He wanted to be stronger and faster and he wanted a medal as well, right? But Mike focused on pace and Marcus focused on his process and how he felt his body and mind and noting the improvements along the way, right? The day of the marathon came and both friends finished the race in a great time. Marcus was proud and fulfilled and he hit a milestone, right? He was actually fulfilled about what he did. Whereas Mike felt proud, but wasn't content with it, right? He kind of just felt flat, right? Something about it seemed empty. What happens is goals will push us to grow, but if you fixate on the ending, you're going to miss the process and the growth that's happening within it, right? And you don't want to miss out on the true purpose of your goal, right? Those who are only motivated by the fruits of their action are miserable. They only focus on the outcome. So are you focusing on the outcome or the day-to-day activities to get you to your goal? You guys, I am one, I will admit it, this was like a gut punch when he was talking because I fixate on the ending always. Like it's always about the end. Like I don't necessarily look at it during the journey and like, am I growing? Did I grow? And I journal a lot, I meditate a lot, and this is still a huge work in progress for me. It's like I do all my goals, I write them all out, I write out like what I need to be doing weekly and daily and monthly and quarterly to reach these goals. And then, I mean, I guess if I hit them, I'd probably be happy and fulfilled, but I might feel a little empty inside because I missed out on the journey, right? I missed out on the actual growth part of it. I didn't fixate on that. I fixated on the ending. And then if I don't hit them, I'm even worse off, right? Then it's a spiral down quickly because you didn't hit your goal, right? What do you guys think?
Uh, I'll say this much. I think when people look at goals of what they have, they're always looking at the finish line. They're always looking at the light at the end of the tunnel. But what they don't look at is the path that it takes to get there, or they don't look deep enough. They don't look at the struggles that you might be on the path, how to overcome those struggles, whether it be physically, mentally, sometimes emotionally. But you got to know that when you're setting goals in life, whatever it is, most of the time it's job or career, you got to know that you got to follow the path to whatever it is. And some people have a hard time accepting that, believe it or not. People think that things can be handed to them. You can't think that way. You got to think. I like to use the term outside the box, for lack of a better term, because in our business we're licensed insurance professionals, and we have to realize that the path that we have to get on comes one client at a time, but also you have to be willing to learn about yourself along that way. And some people have a hard time accepting that as well. So it's a path, it's a system when it comes to growth. and we have to learn to accept it and learn to face the challenges that come along with it.
For sure. Yeah, and go ahead, Mike. You had something you
I
want to
was
add?
just- I agree. It's usually not the system, it's you if you're not successful,
Oh, for sure.
right?
It's definitely right, but we want to blame something else. Like we don't
You
want
want
to
to
blame
blame
ourselves.
something else.
Yeah.
This is really interesting because I was just reading a couple of days ago something similar, and it talked about the dopamine effect. So when you're going through that process, your brain is just dumping dopamine, and you're, yeah, dopamine drunk, for lack of a better term. And then when it's over, you have this huge drop off. So you need to have
Yeah.
something. You have to either go to the next thing or have a different perspective, as Jay Shetty said.
Right. Or maybe a reward system for following um your rules or your systems or your like whatever it is that you're doing in life, like or whatever your goal is, right? Maybe have small rewards along the way so that if you hit a milestone, you get a reward for it, right?
Right.
Like I have decided I'm going to stop drinking, like cut it out completely because it's not good for my health and it's not good at all, right? And so like it's been a struggle. Like don't get me wrong, like this especially like when we go out on the boat and we're hanging out with friends or we're going to do something where there's usually alcohol involved and I would be the one drinking and I was like, now I'm not doing this anymore, right? And it's not easy for sure, but the thing is the reward at the end of it is going to be way better for me because it's better health, better quality of life. There's a lot more uh benefits in the long run, right? But in the journey part of it, like the growth phase of it, it's hard. And like I was reading something today about it and it's the dopamine, right? You
Hmm.
you like if I were to just take a drink, right? It'd be like and I'm not an alcoholic or anything, like don't get me wrong, like it's not that at all. But I like to have fun and I like to drink a little, like no big deal, but it's just not good for my health and where I'm at right now in life. So like the dopamine hit of taking that drink, right? What it like that's so we have to reward ourselves in different manners so that we continue to push for that goal of being healthy, right? Mine is overall just to be a healthy person instead of being known as the partier or the drinker, right? So, I think if there's little reward systems along the way, once you hit a small goal, that's going to help the dopamine part of it, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I
I,
think so. Mm.
Christine, I wanted to share something. I usually don't share this kind of story, but back in my high school days, um, uh, I think this was diagnosed to me when I was actually in middle school. But I was born with a muscular condition in my feet, my legs. I'm not going to disclose what it is, but all I know is in high school I had to have 3 surgeries on my feet to correct the problem. Otherwise, my health was after high school was going to be about 5 times worse.
Yeah.
And going through those growth and pain and change challenges in high school, um, knowing and I don't want to say high school was a bad time for me, but it was a very challenging time. And
Right.
I'm very grateful for standing on my 2 feet today and can tell a story that I made it through high school. I was able to graduate with the rest of the class and, passing all my tests, even though it was trips to the high school on my crutches, having to take the bus, you know, and having some help from some of my friends or students and getting a little bit of gratitude from some of the teachers for at least, giving everything you got. But, in life, we go through challenges, but in life, celebrate the small wins. Celebrate, getting to that finish line so you know that you can accomplish things in life. And also, in this business that we have, you're going to have struggles at first. I mean, I think a lot of careers you're going to have struggles, and people have a hard time accepting it.
Yeah.
And they're not willing to ask for help. They're not willing to dig deep and say, okay, give yourself a chance, give yourself that time to work on it, see if this is really where you're meant to be.
Right.
And the challenges that come along with it. Life will always be full of challenges. It's how we face them and how we celebrate the small wins to get to the finish line.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of times, Earl, you brought up a good point. A lot of times when we struggle, a lot of times we're focusing on the outcome instead of like the process, right? It's
Right.
so easy to focus on the outcome, right?
Yeah.
It's so easy to say, I want to make $5,000 a month in the insurance industry, right? So easy, right? But the process is the hard part. And that's where all the growth is. And I think that's what Jay's trying to get at is like looking at the process, like even lifting weights, like with my son right now. Like it's hard, right? I wake up sore. I'm sore all the time, but it's because my muscles are growing, right? They're repairing, they're growing, they're doing their thing, right? So I have to stop myself and not worry about the pain so much as far as I need to focus on like why I'm doing this, right? I'm doing this so I can become healthy. Because I'm like trying to get way healthier than I was. So like, but
Right.
my like if I focus on the outcome of like I want to look fit, I want to be healthy, I like all these things, right? I'm missing out on the actual process of the growth during that process. Even like when you're a new insurance agent, right? It's easy to say I want to do this and make this and you see all the pie in the sky numbers and you're like, I want to do that, but then the process starts and you give up. Is it because we're not focused on like what we truly want? Because a lot of times our wants and like what we want for ourselves is based off of society and not what we truly want. Because we've seen
Mhm.
somebody have this and we're like, I want that, I want this. Like I look at vision boards that I made um, throughout the last 14 years, and a lot of them are like wants that maybe I did want that, but not really. Like it really wasn't that important to me. But I seen somebody else have it and I was like, oh, I want that. Like it's like when your 3-year-old kid sees a ice cream that somebody else has, right? They want that. It's same with us. We don't grow out of it. It's just a
That's right.
different want, right? Were you
Well,
gonna
we
say something, Mike?
It's the same chemical in your brain.
Yes.
It doesn't change as you get older.
No. Our wants change, right? It's not the ice cream effect anymore. It's
Yeah.
more like the houses, the cars, the shiny objects, like the materialistic stuff.
Yeah. Your story about um, trying to, or you quit drinking, reminds me of an old episode of MASH. And it's where I forget, Hawkeye and whoever his companion was at the time, Honeycutt or the other one, Trapper John, decided they were going to stop drinking. And they have a particularly bad day at the end, Hawkeye walks into the Rosie's bar and says, I need a drink. And he sends in and he's looking at this shot of whatever. And he puts it down, turns around and walks out and says, I'll be back when I want it, not when I need it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
I
And
I
that's it.
remember I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like we think we need it, right? Whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily
Right.
just have to be alcohol. It's anything. That is a perfect example of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe it's stuff that we think we need or want in that moment, but we don't need it or want it, right?
Right.
But we think our brain is like processing the information, like that's what I want that's what I want, so I'm gonna have it, right? Regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And that's with the reward system that I was talking about before, the dopamine hits of like rewarding ourselves for the little things, like Earl brought it up, like give yourself little, like if you have a little win, reward yourself for it, right? Because there's your dopamine hit to keep pushing to the next level, right? Earl, were you gonna say something?
I had a couple of thoughts, but the one that's hitting right now, I know it's like a scramble for me. Uh, we and I think we hit on this on the men's fellowship on Wednesday. We were reading certain scriptures. How we want things in life, but are not willing to work for it to get it. You know,
Or we
sometimes
underestimate the work to get
we
it.
we underestimate the work, but we underestimate ourselves.
Oh,
We underestimate ourselves because and the other thing I was going to get back to, I'm glad. Too bad Jay isn't here because Jay would remember this where we were doing the online platform that Brad brought up,
Timiko?
Timico.
Yeah.
Yes. Jay has somebody under. I'm not going to give out any names, but this guy was whining and complaining about the leads. He wasn't getting appointments. This and that, and I called him out on it, and I said, "Hey, you. Let me ask you this: are you going to the team meetings? Are you asking for help? Are you going to the trainings? No, I don't. Okay, then why are you complaining? Why are you not giving 100% to everything before you quit? Why you say you want to get to this level and you want to prove to yourself, yeah, I can do this, but you're not willing to accept the failure, ask for help. Ask Mike Dawson.
Mhm.
Ask Brad Gainey. Why don't you ask for help? Attend. I said, are you not man enough to attend these conferences or these little meetings in the chat box and ask for help? I said, don't try to be Mr. Macho and get your ego out of your head and get into it. Get to work. And
Yeah.
Jay looked at me like, what is this? Are you the new church minister of our agency now?
Yeah.
There's a new sheriff in town. His name's
Yeah.
Earl.
But you're right. A lot of times, like we're willing to complain and do all the things, but are we willing to put in the work? And
I mean,
and the thing is like you know how like symmetry always talks about your why, like knowing your why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Because when the days get tough, and they will, in any entrepreneurial or like if you're an entrepreneur out there, like the days are not always easy, right? They're just not. Everything's devoted to you waking up every morning and pushing, right? And doing the things you have to do in order to make the money that you need to make in order to provide for your family or whatever it is that you're doing in life, right?
right.
Or to have the lifestyle you want. But the thing is like we really have to focus on what, like in the story, the Mike and Marcus guy, right?
Mhm.
Whereas Marcus was willing to look at his growth along the way and be happy with it and content with it, right? Whereas Mike was focused on like the achievement part of it, which a lot of times it's easy to focus on the achievement part of it, right? And that's why I think we get so wrapped up in that part that we let ourselves down. We're focused on the wrong thing, which is easy to focus on. It's hard not to, right? Mike, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I think if you only focus on the result, that's what leads to certain people that we've known in the past and in my past career being uh, invited to leave because
Yeah.
they do it becomes a desperation thing and you cheat, commit fraud, whatever.
Yeah. Because you're so desperate for that win, right? That you're going to
Mhm.
do, sometimes we do it at whatever cost, right? Not that I
You
Yeah,
know,
think it's fraud, but there are people out there that would in order to hit
and
that goal, right?
yeah, and beware of anyone who is only goal is to see their name on the leaderboard
Oh, yes.
because they'll do anything to get there.
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's interesting, Christine, because the person I'm going to be bringing on board, the bringing on board part's going to be a little delayed. She actually has accomplished something. I'm very proud of her, but she is coming into this business, and the one thing she says, I don't care when it says how much I can make per year. I care about how many people I can take care of and the process that it takes to get there. She goes, I'm not a pie in the sky person. I'm only here part time. But the thing is, if I could grow it into something, I'll be proud of my accomplishment because she's a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
She's been through the ringer. All right. she knows what it's like to fail, success, and climb that ladder. She understands. And I'm proud of her for saying that, because she's a realist. And when you get people like that, that's a plus. Now, those are the type of people you want to coach, and just watch them grow a little bit. And if they fall down, get them back up. No
Yeah.
big deal. No big deal. But the thing is, how it presents itself in life. Whether you're a college student starting a new job, all right, and for all those people watching, you got to learn to accept the good days with the bad days. I mean, whatever the growth is, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, even if you're just trying to make a good living, you got to learn to accept that, it could be a process of what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all a process, right? Everything is. Everything we do.
Everything has a system. Some employers have a system. Some employers have a process. Everyone's different, and it's going to resonate differently for everyone. But the thing is, you've got to put your ego down. And if you're struggling with something, what are you supposed to do? Ask for help.
Yep. But that's the problem, is a lot of us have too big of an ego or pride that we don't want to ask for help. And instead, we're just going to push through and then eventually give up and quit because it became too hard, right? Or we're not seeing any progress on meeting our goals.
And, it's not only for the younger people, but I think the older folks, some older folks come in here and think, oh, I've been down this road before. I can handle this, right? And then they fall down about 20 times. Oh, geez, I don't know if I said, did you ask for help? No, I thought I could do it. I said, no, 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 no.
Exactly. Like we think that we can just handle it all on our own, right? That we don't need to ask for help or even, or even surrender it, right? That's
Right.
like, because we think that we need to be independent and go-getters, and like our pride and ego gets in the way for sure on a lot of things.
Exactly. Any final thoughts, Christine?
No, this was really good though. Like if you guys didn't notice, I did heart it at the very end because I was like, man, I need to go back to this and listen to it again, especially at the end of the week or at the end of the month, because a lot of times when we're shooting for a goal, and let's say we miss, like in the month, not saying for the yearly goals, but maybe in a month we miss our goals. Like a lot of times it can become defeating and we'll give up then, right? But if that's why I put heart at it, because I want to be able to go back at the end of the month if I'm missing, so that I can listen to it again, so I can focus not necessarily on the end, but on the whole process, right? The daily, the weekly, the quarterly, and the monthly, and all the things, and not just focus on December 31st of 2026.
Exactly. Mike, any final thoughts?
Good.
We're
Say
good.
it.
Shut us down, Earl.
I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear you, Mike. Sorry.
I said, shut us down.
Shut us down. Okay. Well, folks, as you can see, we are not licensed therapists, nor do we tend to be, and we don't play one on TV. But come join us for the AppCom, where you'll hear Jay Shetty, who, in my opinion, is one of the best speakers that we've known, and we share a message that he gives us every day, and we talk about what he does. And I certainly hope that you all come back to hear more about what we have and what we have to share. And please leave a good positive comment. Some feedback is always welcome. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more of this content. And I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Peace.
This is